Pete Carroll returns to the place he once called home for the very first preseason game. Ashton Jeanty, as well as the first team offense, struggles early. And the Raiders might have found a hidden gem in quarterback Cam Miller. Yo, what is up, Raidernation? It's your boy Samoa Raider, and welcome to the very first episode of the Raiders recap for the 2025 season. Now, the very first preseason game has come and gone, and man, we got a lot of things to talk about. But first things first, if this is the very first time you guys are coming across this channel and you love Raiders content, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification icon button just to notify you guys when I upload more videos just like this. That being said, what a game, what a game, what a game. Now, I know I was really excited to watch this game, of course, just to see a lot of the new players that we brought in, whether we brought them in during the draft or even free agency. And I can say that my emotions are kind of tempered right now. Of course, this game was definitely a Raiders game because it was a roller coaster from beginning to end. I mean, this team really started off slow, and I was getting frustrated already in the first half, but shout out to the team, shout out to Pete Carroll, shout out to the rest of the players for coming back in the second half and just turning the intensity up just a little bit.
Well, we started really poorly. We had a really hard time. I don't know why that stopped, but the officials, got us 5 times that we assessed penalties, and there was a few other ones that they let go. It was miserable looking first quarter. We didn't run the ball very well in the first half. We really didn't do much of anything very well, but we stayed close. And so it was the opportunity for us to face that up and then come on back and see what you can do in the second half to finish the game. And it was a marvelous second half for our guys as a team.
Yeah, I thought we started out really slow, and that's kind of to be expected for a first preseason game. A lot of different rotations, a lot of different players in there. Guys got to get used to, tackling and getting hit and just all the things that, preseason brings. But I thought in that second half, man, we played really inspired football. And, I thought our entire team really, fought for it to be a preseason game. Guys were competing and trying to win. And I thought that was pretty cool.
At the end of the day, the Raiders didn't lose. But then again, we didn't win. So I can't really complain about this game too much. It was a homecoming for Geno Smith, Pete Carroll, Jamal Adams. Heck, Geno Smith was out here giving the Seahawks fans a little welcome gift, a little two-bird action, you know what I mean? That being said, though, man, it was great to finally have some Raiders football back. But then I realized that, damn, I totally forgot how much stress comes with watching Raider games. Now, I know it's just preseason, and I know that Raider fans are all over the place. I mean, there's a lot of Raider fans overreacting to a lot of things, a lot of other Raider fans saying, it's just preseason. But at the end of the day, I didn't go into this game hoping the Raiders would just go and win. I wanted the Raiders to go out there and just look competitive. I wanted to see the players that we all expect to look good. Hey, yo. And I can easily say that we got a little bit of both in this game. Like I said earlier, it isn't a Raider game if they ain't stressing you out one way or another, right?
Well, that's true in a way.
So with that said, I want to start off with the good and the bad in this game. And let's start off with the bad because I feel like the Raiders started off bad in this game to start with. Now, of course, everybody was really excited to see Ashton Jeanty, Geno Smith, this first team offense. How well will they look? And after watching them at the mock game at Allegiant Stadium, I had some high hopes. Then again, we were playing the Raiders defense, so that's not really saying much. But the first team unit didn't really look too good. Early on, we struggled, and you could definitely tell. Geno Smith only got 1 drive. Now, Jeanty had 2 drives in him, but Ashton Jeanty didn't look good as well. And I was kind of frustrated. I was like, damn, man, he couldn't go anywhere. But then you look at the offensive line, they weren't giving him time. And that's one big thing that we have to worry about. Yes, we drafted Ashton Jeanty. And yes, he looks like a generational talent out there as a running back. But if the offense cannot block, then we can't expect Jeanty to look good out there, especially in the NFL where everybody's much quicker than in college. Ashton Jeanty came away with 3 carries and -1 yards, and it doesn't look good. And I know some people are panicking, especially fantasy owners, but I would easily just say, chill. It's just the first game, and he only had 3 carries. He barely played. And yes, Geno Smith even talked about this earlier. Everybody's getting into game day action for the very first time, so we just got to give them some time to kind of gel. Now, if this was week 1, week 2, week 3, then we could worry about it. But this is the preseason, and this is where you want to get those jitters out the way. It didn't help that we didn't really utilize them yet, but it is what it is. I'm not going to worry about Ashton Jeanty moving forward. Now, Geno Smith, he didn't look that bad. He didn't look that good either. He came away with 1 completion on 3 attempts with only 15 yards. Then again, like I said, he only had 1 drive. We were 3 and out. Didn't really do much, so I'm not going to overreact to him and his performance. Now, what I will stress about is the run defense. Our defense in general. Like, I know I talked about our offensive ones not looking good out there, but our defensive ones, oh my goodness. It seemed like we couldn't stop the run to save our lives. And that was the frustrating thing. The Seahawks, all they had to do was just run the ball, and they were just killing us. Hell, George Halani looked crazy out there. My dude looked like beast mode out there. I think, well, he carried the ball 7 times, ran for 61 yards, and had a huge touchdown on our defense. And this was with Max Crosby, Jonah Laulu, Adam Butler out there, our whole first team ones. But, you know, again, I know it's the first game, so if this continues, then that's going to be a problem. I just want to talk about the game. This game in general, they struggled. And even Pete Carroll talked about the run defense and how bad they looked in the beginning.
Yeah, we made some really glaring errors. We made errors. And a couple times when we were pressuring, we just didn't hit stuff clean enough. But as the game went on, we played way better. And I thought they did a nice job running the football. I thought that was a really obvious part of their game. And we need to do better.
I do got to give a lot of credit to the Seahawks, though, man. They really had a great run game. And then even when Jalen Moreau came in the game, my dude was rushing too. And I'm telling y'all, man, Jalen Moreau is going to be a problem in the NFL when his time does come. And just to see his dual threat ability out there, especially against our defense, is one of the main reasons why I wanted to draft him. But it's okay. That's all besides the point. Now, I do want to talk about another player that really struggled in this game was Aiden O'Connell. Oh, my. In the first half, I easily was like, you know, cut this dude. He seems like a guy that might be cut. And I was really surprised that Aiden O'Connell played as long as he did. Now, shout out to Murphy, brought up a fact that I didn't think about, but it kind of felt like the Raiders were trying to get his trade value up by just showcasing him a lot more, especially after the horrible first half that he had. He threw 2 interceptions and looked horrible. He missed Dante Thornton on a huge play downfield, underthrew him. That pissed me off for sure, because it's like, damn, that could have been a big play, could have been a big touchdown, but that didn't happen. Coming into the third quarter, I was surprised that they kept him in. But as much shit as AOC was getting in the first half, which I think was warranted for sure, he came out in the second half and looked a lot better. I would give him that. He ended his day throwing 80 for 30, 205 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 costly interceptions. At the end of the day, he helped bring this team back a little bit later on in the game, especially in the third quarter, to kind of keep it a little bit competitive before Cam Miller came in. His only touchdown that he had, shout out to Dylan Laube out there. He looked pretty explosive out there, so I got to give a shout out to Dylan Laube. We haven't really seen a lot of him, especially last year, but to see him get some reps out here was really great to see. And I could say the same thing for the team in general, with the Raiders team in general. The offensive line struggled a little bit early on, but they kind of picked up the slack later on. Shout out to Laki Tassi. I seen a little clip of him pancaking dude later on in the game, and man, I think Laki Tassi could be a guy that once he gets the game going in his head and once he gets everything going, I think he could be a special guy on the offensive line. Now, I want to talk about some of the good, man, up in this game, because even though we had some struggles, we had some highlights here and there. And early on, shout out to the Oos, Isaiah pull him out, my cousin, with getting an interception. He laid it all out there. Got the interception early on, gave this team a little bit of momentum. Of course, the offense didn't really match that same energy, but it was great to see that Isaiah was still making plays out there. And that was one of the main reasons why Pete Carroll put him out there, to give him his chance to shine, and he shined. Now, another guy that shined, that Pete Carroll brought on and gave him a chance, was none other than Jamal Adams. When this defense was looking sluggish out there, Jamal Adams seemed like the only guy that had some type of life in him on the defensive side of the ball, and you just love seeing him. And this is one main reason why we all got to give Pete Carroll a lot of respect, is because he's bringing players in and putting them in positions to succeed, and Jamal Adams is a clear indication of that. Even though he played a little bit here and there, you felt his presence, and I know I'm not the only one. He had 3 total tackles, and it definitely all stood out, every single one of them. So shout out to Jamal Adams. I'm really excited to see what he can do. And after we seen those 3 tackles, I was like, yo, Pete, let's call it a day. Put Jamal Adams aside, because we know his history with being injured. We see how explosive he looks. We don't need to see it anymore. Also got to give a shout out to the Osh Trevin Ma'ai, making big plays in this game. This is a guy that's not, you know, a household name, but if he continues to make plays like this, we could possibly see more playing time for Ma'ai. He had a block kick, and he also had a huge sack to help turn this game around and give the Raiders a chance to kick the game-winning field goal. Of course, we didn't kick the game-winning field goal, but it's the thought that matters. Now, the last player that I do want to talk about is actually going into my next segment with the player of the game. And I gotta give this to none other than Cameron Miller. Now, I was really excited to see Cam Miller, and this is what I said. I was really surprised that he didn't play early on in the second half, but I was just like, you know what? AOC is not doing it for me right now. When is Cam Miller going to go out there? Why is the Raiders waiting so long to give him a chance to at least go out there and prove himself? But when he did come in, man, did this dude deliver. And one quote that I like hearing from him after the game was the fact that he said that he thought that this moment would have felt a lot bigger, but it didn't.
That's what I'm used to. I'm used to playing in games like that. I thought it would feel a little bit bigger, a little bit more stressed out, but I felt like the coaches did a great job of putting me in at the right time in the game with guys that I'm comfortable playing with. So everything felt a lot better than what I expected.
I mean, talk about bars. I love the little confidence that he has now. I know it's just preseason. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want to call him the next Tom Brady just yet, but Tom Brady did vouch for this guy. And with everything that we've been hearing of Cam Miller, we might have a hidden gem in this guy, and I'm really excited to see him in the next game. Now, Cam Miller came away 6 for 7, 76 yards, and a touchdown, a huge touchdown. Shout out to Miller and Jackson, man. They seem like they had a little bit of chemistry going on. I mean, they've been playing together with the threes for a while, so it definitely makes sense. Cam Miller put up 3 solid drives for the Raiders and almost led the Raiders to a comeback win, but Daniel Carlson got his kick block and we just ended up tying the game. But at the end of the day, we didn't lose, we didn't win, but we came back, and the Raiders struggled early on, so I got to give a lot of credit to this team for fighting even when it seemed like this team wasn't going anywhere. We got to hear our head coach Pete Carroll give some love to Cam Miller, saying that he did a terrific job.
Yeah, we knew that he would get the chance in the fourth quarter to do this, and he did a terrific job. Yeah, I'm so proud of him for hanging in there through all those situations.
I definitely do feel like Cam Miller has a bright future with this team, and like I said before, I just am really excited to see what he can do, and he definitely stood out in the quarterback room. I can easily say that there is definitely a competition there for the QB2 spot if he continues to play this way. That being said, I want to get into the next segment of this video, the
my neck and my back
play of the game. I think it's obvious already. I got to give the play of the game to none other than Cameron Jeffrey Miller to Cedric Jackson for the 41-yard bomb. Oh my gosh, Cam Jordan steps back. He pumps fakes. He throws it down deep. Who is it? It's not Derek Carr. It is Cedric Johnson for the touchdown. Raiders! Oh my gosh.
my neck and my back.
So with all of that being said, Raider Nation, how did you guys feel about this game? Were you guys as stressed out as me in the first half? Or do you feel good about this team moving forward? Are you guys worrying about this team? How is your reaction to the team overall? What are some things that stood out to you? What are some things that stressed you out? And what are you looking forward into the next game? Will you guys be at the San Francisco 49er game? Because I know I will. Till then, this is your boy Small Raider, and your boy is, yeah.